As Rosa and Blessing said, today is about migration, and it's about how migration informs and transforms and shapes migrant women's lives. And as myself as a migrant woman, I want to give probably a brief introduction as well and a little bit of my own story before I speak about intercultural action. I came to Ireland 14 years ago as a family of economic migrant and during the Celtic Tiger times. I'm here for 14 years, which is 1/3 of my life, approximately. And that means quite a long time. And it means I have now 2 homes. You talk homelands, not homes, but I don't have a home in Ireland, but homelands. And I think I'm so fortunate that I have this luxury of 2 homes that are peaceful and safe, and I can make even a choice where I want to live. And I'm really sorry for those women who are with children, mothers who are stuck in refugee camps for unknown amount of times, and they have lost their homes, or maybe direct provision centers that, again, they cannot fully call Ireland as their home because it doesn't treat them as, that doesn't allow in that kind of luxury for many years. I came 14 years ago and was really confused because what I'm going to do with myself. But in the beginning, I enjoyed the peace, and it's a good time. And I was working a little bit of a really basic job, and I'm making maybe 10 times more money than I worked in a very qualified job back home. And then I thought, well, I can't really always work in fast food. It's just not really. I can do more than that. And I thought, what can I reinvent myself? I came with this legal qualification. But the legal science, legal law, Russian law doesn't translate to Ireland very easily. So I had to reinvent myself. And I also was a parenting, as I'm a mother of 2 wonderful children. And it's not difficult to bring children on your own as a single mom, but it's also harder, maybe 10 times harder when you're a single mother in different countries, because you don't have support, you don't have granny, you don't have mom, you don't have anybody to give you basic supports. But that's okay. So I had to reinvent myself, and I studied. After a few different attempts, I decided to do human rights law in the Irish Centre for Human Rights in Galway. I think it was a lucky choice, and I completed it. And then I was so excited about this field that I continued further, and I then did my PhD. So that was a dream of my life. So that's done. As well as being parent and doing that PhD. I also felt that I have to do something kind of in terms of work or employment or skill building, because the policy at the time as a parent of an Irish-born child, it imposed on me the condition that I had to become economically viable. So I had to do something with myself. And then luckily I get involved with my intercultural action. That allows me the opportunity to volunteer. Then I became a member of the board. And then I worked for 3 years as a CE worker and advocacy worker, and then I'm really privileged to continue to work for MIA and to lead this wonderful organization. So that's where I am. We're going to be talking about migration today, and migration is a global phenomenon. It's happening everywhere. It's happening across the world, and it's, we're talking about that in a global sense, and we all watch news, but it's also is translating ultimately to local, to County Mayo, and how it is. We're all watching news, we all relate to the story, but we also have immediate effects because people are leaving Mayo, and people are going for opportunities. There was no jobs, and the young people are leaving Mayo, so that's kind of effect. That's the movement, but we have also people who came to live to Mayo. And Ireland is now home to 13,500 migrants. Now this is statistics from 2011 census, a little bit outdated, but it gives a little bit of, kind of orientation in terms of numbers. So it's 10% of Mayo population are people from non-Irish origin. Among these people, again, through the census, 43% are women. And that allowed me to make a simple calculation, and it's really rough, it's really approximate, that Mayo is home to 5,800 women, which is, it's a figure, it's a big figure. Intercultural Action was created in 2004, established as an organization, as a to respond to this global issue of migration, and because the new communities begin to settle in Mayo. And specifically, it was a response to the new direct provision centers were set up across the country from 2000. Direct provision is it's a very important topic. It's going to be addressed today by different speakers. I'm not going to talk about direct provision as such, but I'll cut across through different themes. I think just the thing is to say about direct provision and about asylum seekers that these are the people who are in our country awarded the least amount of scope of human rights. They're disadvantaged and they're limited in every sense, from basic things, from choice of food, from right to work, right to study, autonomy of freedom to move. They denied effectively everything, family life, dignity. And they live in, we say it's in an open prison kind of conditions, and that's very true. And I work with the direct provision residents, and it is a prison settings. It's comparable. Women were always at the heart of MIA work from the very beginning, and asylum seeker women in particular. Our mission statement is that we exist to promote the positive effects of interculturalism and the meaningful participation of migrants and their families in all aspects of the community of County Mayo. So what my talk today is about is how intercultural action facilitates that participation in Mayo. And when I say about participation, it's a very broad sense. It's participation in political life, it's in local economy, and in community. When we say about participation, and yesterday's seminar was brilliant in terms of highlighting the challenges, what prevents people to effectively being a part of community and being part of society. Of course, for direct provision residents, for asylum seekers, they're denied rights. They cannot participate in so many things, and they can't work. They can't do so many things. But let's say for the rest of non-Irish population, for migrants, what are the challenges you think to take part? Maybe you, from the audience, what is the difficulty for migrants to be meaningfully participating in the country? If you can throw a few things. Language, yes, it is language is a barrier. That's true. Sometimes I think it's a capacity thing. It's not in terms of that we are, less capable. We are very talented. We have all these kind of skills, but our skill set is we developed in different cultures. It's not easily transferable to Ireland, and it is difficult for women to participate just because of that we are not ready yet. We need this kind of time. We need facilitation assistance in terms of helping us to adjust and to understand how Ireland works. The family situation, parenting, especially parenting alone, it does really limit you from doing many, many things, as I said. And again, because we come from different places, different countries, we don't know how Ireland works. It took me probably, if I say 10 years, maybe less, to figure out what is GAA. I kind of know that there is a Gaelic game, but to put all the pieces of puzzles on this, all these games, and Mayo for Sam Maguire. You see, I'm still not fully grasped with so many things, but it takes time for you to learn what it is. And even me being engaged in community work and learning things constantly, it's an ongoing challenge. I cannot take part in Irish quiz, for example. If I go to a pub and there is a fundraiser and quiz, I'm useless because I grew up in a different country. We didn't learn Irish history, your writers and all this kind of Western world famous things that it's a common sense for you, but it's completely new learning for me. So this kind of challenges are affecting us, and also the gender role, the traditional gender role. Women are not taking part significant enough in political life. I'm not aware of any migrant woman who would put her name down to be elected representative. I'm not aware, if you might correct me. I know the men go for these roles, migrant men, and that's wonderful, but I'd like to see women, and I think the leadership is emerging, and we are hoping to have migrant women going for the more, I suppose, the public representative roles, because we have a lot to offer. So there is a need for migrant women to get help. there is a need for targeted supports. And that's what Mia was very good at. Mia has been able to pick up on those issues and been able to match and been able to deliver so many different ways to help women to participate, either through building capacity or giving voice and making people visible, and so on. I'm just going to give a few examples of capacity building projects that we did over the last year. These are significant projects that were built up on the major funding from European, if you want, European funding. GROW project supported over 30 women to start and continue their business. That was very, very good, very impressive project. And I know a lot of women are continuing as entrepreneurs successfully. And if there are those who don't, I think the project really helped them to make the right choices, what to do next. Different Together was another really good project, which myself and Kanye, I think we took part in it. It was a certified training for refugees and migrants to become actively engaged in community. So people effectively get training to understand how community works, so they'll be able to participate themselves meaningfully, but also draw their own respective communities into the active participation through that, kind of to become leaders for their own respective communities. SOAS project was one of our recent European Refugee Fund funded project. It worked with asylum seekers in Mayo and in Galway. It was a regional project. It was really, really useful. It was the first of its scale funding that was specifically dedicated to asylum seekers. There is no money go into work with asylum seekers. It's absolutely nothing. So that was a wonderful project that we delivered, and it's ended, and the support has been withdrawn, which is unfortunately. There is a number of different actions through this project, individual supports, building capacity of maybe state authorities to understand asylum seekers' issues and so on. But one of the particular action there was, it was a group of asylum seekers that was facilitated to deliver, supposed to advocate for themselves, to build their capacity to engage with issues that are affecting them. The issue that was picked up at the time, it was August, the issue was picked up at the time was parents, women bringing the children back to school, the poverty, that not able to afford books, school uniform, and what we did through this project is we were able to get women together with the principals of school, and women articulated their issues. That's how participation started in this case, and that women feel included in maybe in some kind of decision making and discussing the issues and they're taken equally and seriously. That's I think it was quite a good example of building capacity. Integration Women's Group, that group emerged as a response to social isolation. Again, you know, I'm not socializing through the pub. I just don't like. I don't enjoy it. You know, where it is for women to go socialize in Ireland it's actually a difficult question, and we don't know what kind of clubs are out there. It's all kind of learning. You need to really put an enormous effort to get out there to socialize. And what we noticed from our work that migrant women are really get on well with each other. And they really enjoyed that kind of, you know, because we all kind of in a social sort of an imagined society, but we really are linking and really bonding to each other. This group is bringing together migrant women, but also we are welcoming Irish women to this group. And there are different things we do through the group, dancing, you know, Irish language awareness session. We did lots of things, and I think it really works well because it allows women to get together, to create friendships, you know, to feel good and just get out there and socialize. That's a basic need. And I remember we went to the film Brooklyn with myself and, you know, a few women. Rosa was with us, and it's one of these experiences you will always remember. Getting out of there, you know, crying your tears and, you know, reflecting on your migrant experience and how the film really triggered your own self, but also being in a group of people, of kind of like-minded people who do understand you. That's a powerful moment that these kind of groups can offer. I would like to mention in context of this group that this group was fully an idea of one of our workers, Elizabeta Giziska. She is here in the audience. That group, she recognized that need. She set up this group, and she is leading this group along, I think, for over 6 months now. I think it's really a powerful thing that Migrant Woman is doing that, and she feels the need, and she's able to follow up, and she's able to continue. These kind of simple things, I think they go a really long way. Participation can be achieved through giving voice, and voice is very important. There isn't that many avenues for asylum seekers women to speak out and to say what bothers them, or maybe to share their stories. So Mia is creating constantly the opportunities for women to be heard. And there are different ways, we could, linking people with media, local radio, national media. I think we're contacted by the BBC television. I don't know, we'll see if there might be opportunities emerging from that as well. Nominating women to local committees and different forums, so they were able to communicate what bothers them, what's the issue, how the issues can be addressed. This is an important way of work. Oral History Project was delivered about a couple of years ago. It was really a nice project that engaged, I think, 6 migrants or 8 migrants, and mostly, again, women. And it captures voices of women sharing stories of the prior to migration to Mayo, and then how they settle in. I think from that project, a lot of further projects has started, and I think that our engagement with the museum probably was somehow informed from that project, I believe. This is my favorite bit. I think Mia, that's kind of a remarkable thing, to be able to get asylum seekers out there and to be able to allow them the opportunity to express their anger, their frustration, their dissatisfaction, how Irish state fails to accept their presence and denies them their rights for so long. We organized at least 3 protests over the last number of years, 2 in Castlebar and 1 protest in Galway. Here we are standing in front of NDKNI office and demanding to end direct provision, because that system has to go. And I couldn't not mention the International Women's Day that happened this year. There was a wonderful event of women from different countries, where again we were get together reading poetry, and also what is my favorite part of that was that we were able to discuss status of women in different countries. We were able to learn from each other, and we were able to relate how women live, what's the culture is abroad, and women coming here, how do we connect, and where is the common things, where are the challenges. Again, I must compliment Ella, and I know she's going to be angry with me, but this event was fully Ella's idea. She started it was from her idea, which she made happen from beginning to the very end. I did very little support in that. It's really wonderful to have people like Ella to work for us. Another way of participating is we need to become visible. Migrants need to be out there, not only going with our kids and buggies and doing shopping and carrying this shopping. That's not. We need more than that. We need better visibility. We need to highlight that we can also take part in the community through taking part in the major events. On the yearly basis, we bring migrants on the streets on the St. Patrick's Day, and I think it always proves we always get very well received. Mini marathon. This marathon is going for 5 years, and I think we take part in each and every year, and our presence, I think, is increasing. The numbers are increasing. Women are willing to run for Mia. There's a little bit of fundraising go through this, but this is not really the purpose. Though we basically dearly need money, but we wouldn't really expect migrant women to go too much for funding. It really is about participation. And what is good as well to see that migrant women are not only running for Mia, they're also running for all kinds of charities, for Mayo Choir, for Western Care, that's wonderful to see that's happening. This exhibition here in the museum, Rosa has already said a lot about it. I think what I have to repeat, and I said that yesterday, Rosa, at the Inclusive Centenary event, we are really lucky to have museum in Mayo. We're lucky to have museum at all, because it's a luxury for me, for a county. And what we're particularly lucky is that the museum is very receptive to the fact that Ireland and Mayo is becoming increasingly diverse society, and they're willing not only accept that fact, but also willing to share space with migrant women and with migrants. And at least at 3 occasions that museum allowed that space and allowed the exhibitions are taking place. And this was, I suppose, one of the major ones that lasted from, I think, November last year. What is the value of that? Again, it's a contribution to the image of the positive image to migration and diversity. It allows opportunity for everyone to learn and to relate to the migrant story. And of course, it's highlighted our presence again. It made us visible, migrant women visible in Mayo, County Mayo space. I have an important announcement to make. We have a window exhibition that is starting to mark the World Refugee Day on the 20th of June. This exhibition has been a wonderful initiative. Again, we did it in a really, me is always, we know with no money, we have very limited resources, but we deliver things in a really fast kind of pace and action. The idea came out probably about a month ago. Again, the idea, the third time I have to compliment Elisabetta, because that was again her idea. I said, I have no time for this because it's just very busy. And she said, we need to mark the day. Come on, we have to do something. And she came up with this idea. She went to the local businesses, and 22 businesses signed up to take part in this exhibition. So basically what it is going to be about, there will be an images and artwork that will be exhibited in the windows, in the street windows of the local businesses and projects. And the images or visual pieces will be of a different nature. Approximately a third of the displays will be coming from the artist, from the refugee artist from Pakistan, Hina. She was hoping to be here today, and I don't think she is. Hopefully she will arrive later. I think it's a remarkable reflection of, she's reflecting on the pain and trauma of children who've witnessed, the brutal acts of, killings and violence, and that's how it affects them. These are really pieces worth looking at, worth having a look. They're really striking. I think we're really lucky to have this resource, and I really think she hopefully will have a better exposure later. So it's a gift to give the platform to the artwork of refugees. We're also very fortunate to have a number of images on that exhibition to display that are coming from Asylum Archive, and we have the leader of this project is here today, and we're really happy to have, really thankful for your allowing us to use your images. I think I just want to share, this one is to be displayed, I think, in Mayo Traveler Support Group, because there I think you didn't, Ellen hasn't installed. This is the last piece to be installed. This is an example of the Direct Provision Residence Center. There's a broken bed here. That's the conditions that, there's slightly exaggeration. Of course, not every beds are like that, but it's just a reflection of overall poor conditions, how women and asylum seekers are even considered to be suitable for living in this kind of environment. It's really terrible. We also, the purpose of the exhibition to showcase the positive images of refugees who are settled in the community. So it's a variety, it's a mix of different sort of aspects and which we all united with the common theme of refugees. I think it's worthwhile looking at the exhibition, take a stroll. We have promotional, like the maps that we're going to display later, maybe at the tea break. So it's really take this map and go around Castlebar, take a stroll and enjoy and learn and relate. It's really a wonderful thing. And again, I really want to say thank you to Ella. I really want you, even guys, to clap hands, because these women like Ella are making change, and they are really delivering me action. I'm sorry, Ella, I know she's going to be angry with me, but I think it's important to highlight that Mia that our work is informed, and that's what we're able to deliver because of people like yourself. And it's really remarkable that she's a migrant woman who is doing all these things. I have to close now here, and I just want to say that Mia it's a really small project. We have only 3 people that are working on the part-time capacity, and we're working only for 3 days, so it's really little that we can achieve at the moment, and it's a lot of governance work that is not really making any impact, but it just has to be done. But we still believe that we continue to deliver impact because of people's workers like we have, and also the volunteers. I must compliment that we have a pool of volunteers, and we have board members, that 2 of them are here today, and Kani, who is going to deliver, her next talk, she will reflect as well. A lot of, I'm not talking about you, Kani, today, because I know you're going to say that yourself, but I just want to say that we're fortunate, extremely lucky to have you, and we really want to have you more, and we want to have you not only on the voluntary capacity, but it's, again, just to say that we are really struggling with money, and we welcome donations as well. The good thing, I think what is remarkable about getting increasingly more led and run by migrant women, and I think this is a remarkable achievement in itself. I know we are really tiny, we're really small, and sometimes I question, what can we do in such a small capacity, but we actually do, and I think we deliver, I think, great job. It's not about just praising ourselves, but I think the work continues. This is very important, and I hope it will continue. However, we are facing quite an uncertainty at the moment. So despite all the challenges, we never had core funding. We were always able to kind of survive on, kind of swim from one project funding to another, but we still keep going, still going on. I think, and I really believe that we're doing a great job. And just to reflect on the yesterday event, Inclusive Centenaries, which happened in Galway, it was a wonderful event, really full of different vibrant type of speeches, presentations, and especially asylum seekers present, I think was really striking there. But one thing was struck me at this event yesterday, Blessing, that there was no migrant organization presence as local. There is no voice that is existing there that to continue to keep raising issues. It's wonderful to see that all different agencies are taking part, but there is no one kind of united voice that asylum seekers would turn up and say, I need help. There was yesterday an outbreak of, the woman was saying, in the middle of the conference saying, please help me, because I don't know what's going to happen to me. And I think it is an indication of the fact that there is no NGO there, that there is no direct and targeted support. Even the very fact that MIA is present in Mayo, even though we're not always in Ballyhonis, in the old convent center, but the very fact that people are aware of MIA exists, I think it really makes a difference. It makes them, it's kind of a mental sort of support. They know we are there. We know if we are needed, if the help is needed, they know they can reach out. And I think it means an awful lot to them. Yesterday I was able to meet a couple of young women, and they remembered me. I wouldn't necessarily remember, they were a short time, but they said, oh, you did so much, and thank you so much, you're doing such a great job, even though we did quite little for them, but that meant a world for them. And I think that is why organizations like MIA are, I suppose, they're essential, and they have to keep going. I'm finished.